Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Edders of the Dark Crusade Season 2. This evening, Solahdrin, once again, prowling the town, ready to perform many shenanigans and breach of domain. It's become something of a reoccurring trend with him. He really does just love getting up in people's grill. But yes, Solahdrin has likely travelled outside of the walls of Edessa, as his Wraithly servant has been spying on one of the local primogen for him, having his servant trail the primogen of Clan Gangrel, who currently possesses a rather valuable arm. And currently resides within her care. The Wraith has reported over the past night or two precisely where the primogen lives. She actually lives quite far out of the domain, close to the wild. She lives on an estate in the countryside, which is a very polite way of saying plain-looking heathland. Which has been turned into something vaguely resembling arable farmland. Packed with a significant retinue of security and many servants. It appears the primogen takes a lot of pride in the maintenance and state of her territory, having taken pains to make sure that it is well kept, and the vessels there healthy and ready to defend it against outside threats. Your servant, Konstantinemos, has informed you as to where the arm is. It exists in the lower rung of the estate, in the cellar area, in an area where there are several very sturdy safes.
Ooh. Yes, Hakai, before you ask, we will open them all. It's fine.
Hakib does show an interest. One thing he does note to you is that when he checked back one night, it was missing a finger. It's actually missing several fingers.
That is interesting. How many fingers does it have as of when he last saw it, and what fingers are missing?
The middle finger and the index finger are missing.
Can I roll maybe intelligence occult, see if there's anything significant about those fingers?
Yes, you can, just standard diff.
Excellent. Wow, that's 5 successes.
Not too much sticks out to you. The index finger in Islam, funnily enough, does denote sort of the the omnipresence of God, of Allah, the sort of indivisible oneness. But other than that, there's nothing that particularly stands out to you.
He'll make a mental note as they walk, going, "Huh, I see the Assamites have already been poking it. Good to know."
There's nothing that really relates to the second finger. Your best guess is that they may be delivering it to the Assamites in pieces.
He looks up at Constantinos and he says, "Go back to the vaults. I want you to check the other vaults and see what's in there." Thank you.
You say it out to your ghost, right?
Yes, I was going to say, I'll feed you some nice emotions later. Shoo shoo.
Ghost man goes. I mean, it's not like he has a choice but to say yes. So he checks some of the he checks the other safes. They vary in size. There are some stacked on large, broad wooden shelves, and then there are some at the back which are about the size of a person. And after some searching, he comes back in a few minutes because races can move pretty quickly, if I recall.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Particularly if they've been somewhere before, they can kind of just.
Yeah, they can just snap themselves there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It really only takes a few minutes from then. Yeah, he does come back and he does note that actually one of the fingers is being held within one of the vaults or one of the safes.
Only one of them?
Only one of them.
Which finger?
Index.
Interesting. Fascinating. Is there anything else of interest in the vaults, or are they just like mundane valuables?
Largely mundane valuables outside the safes. Obviously, it's a cellar, but it's not a wine cellar, so there's not much food down there. That's kept in a separate storage area. This is for valuables. This is of importance. Very few, if any, people are allowed down here. He doesn't. Your Wraithly 7 does note that only the housekeeper appears to be allowed down there. And the whole thing is kept under lock and key. There are actually a lot of locks to this particular cellar. There are about 3 or 4 separate locks. He wouldn't be able to tell you in regards to how complex or difficult to open they may be because your Wraithly 7 is not a locksmith. But
just to clarify, Hekayib, you aren't exceptionally good at opening locks, aren't you? This is while they're just walking down the road. Walk.
It is half the reason I was embraced.
What was the other half?
I'm very good at running when I'm caught.
I accept both of these logics. The Solahdrin, or in the form as he is now, as Lord Saraket, because that's a cool name to say. Kind of.
I can just imagine Solahdrin just pulling a name out of a proverbial hat and just going, "This one seems cool."
No, it's because Saraket is one of the guardians of the underworld.
There you go.
So,
guardian.
But no, he has
guardian
got a red.
Pardon.
He's basically got a red coat on. He's got a red hood over his head. Under that, he's wearing armor. As the two of them just walk down the road, it's like, interesting. I have never socialized with you. Do you play dice? I don't know why. You seem like kind of would play dice.
I'm a dice man, yes.
See, I knew I could respect you the moment. We're here. I'm gonna be fucking with you, but no, he will. When we get relatively close, he will kind of reaffirm the gloves that are over his hands. and I will cloak myself in Suke, and cloak myself in Hekai, just like.
We should really play some Liar's Dice sometime. I do enjoy those games. Very profitable as well.
I mean, it depends who you play with. Honestly, the personal favorite is donning the mask, being a rather attractive young lady, and going around the nobles' quarter and filching them for coins. I'm not going to lie. But yeah.
There are many ways to make a living. I respect them all.
Well, at least you and I can honestly say we make a living on our feet rather than on our back.
This is very true.
Just set type banter. It's fine. Don't worry. Hashtag just set type things. But yeah, we will do the walking thing.
Hekai will say, "My sire, less so, but it has made her a lot of friends."
Who's your sire?
Anif.
Oh, so you're the Primogen's grandchild. How's that going for you?
The Primogen's great-grandchild, but quite well, actually.
Ah, good. Quick question: how many generations? Wait, because I assume this is the thing that Setites do. I'd assume because our god is also our forebearer.
Yeah,
do
they
we
trace
think
themselves back from Set.
How many steps removed from Set are you?
Let's see. 2, 3. I really hope that I get this wrong. I feel like well, it's just -3, so I'm 7 steps removed from what I can recall.
Ah, I see.
Hmm.
That means that. Ah, that's interesting. Myself and your illustrious grandsire are the same number of steps. From our illustrious god.
Oh, congratulations then. You've made more progress than me.
Well, let's be fair. Ultimately, when you join the priesthood, it's not really something you contemplate much. You contemplate the glories of Set, but you never contemplate Liar's Dice and how to filch money out of people with card games.
No, not really. But then again, we do make it look rather easy.
We do. This is why the clan continues. Through our correct and zealous faith in the one true God and our ability to con small-minded others. That's all we have. That's all we need. This is literally the weirdest conversation I think I've ever had with this character. Just like, we know we're vehemently corrupt. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We are simple men indeed.
But yeah, so they will just continue this bantery back and forth as they approach the compound until, as I say, we get close enough. Then Solahdrin will cloak them both.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a fair distance. At least on foot, on horseback, it's less of an issue, but on foot, it's actually a fair distance. Not so much that you risk daylight by sticking around too long, it just takes a while.
I'm happy to transform to Typhonic Avatar state and let him ride me.
I mean, he will not turn you down.
Okay, you know what? Fuck it, I'll spend that one blood because I also have a meeting with the Seneschal this evening, so I don't want to be late. So yeah, I will spend that blood, and he can hang on tight.
Yeah, no. You will ride, or rather, Hekai will ride, like the wind. Solahdrin. Saraket. To close enough that you begin to approach the estate of the Gargoyle Primogen. Very much on the outskirts of the domain of Odessa in general. It does lie within the domain, but it is quite far out from it. And it is quite close to the the woods on the southeastern, on the southeastern side, not far from Zengid's wall. As you begin to approach, you notice that it is very much walled. It's not like it's super large city walls. It's just like small estate walls. And there is you can see kind of fencing on the inside with a rather nice looking front garden and a trail that leads in, but doesn't really go too far outside of the estate. Almost as it's kind of cut off from the rest of the communities that dot the outskirts of Odessa. Almost like it's its own little entity.
He will. I'll switch back to human form because it doesn't take any blood. He just kind of shrugs and he basically will just look at Hekaib, look at the wall, sigh without making any noise, pick up Hekaib and Potence jump them both over. Whee!
Oh no, there's no need to Potence jump them both over. The gates are open.
Oh, wonderful.
They're being guarded. You actually do notice there are servants and serfs going in and out. Usually, it seems they're performing simple labor. Some are tending to the grounds outside the walls. Others are just simply replacing two simple palisades that are in front of the that kind of are in front of the gate and sort of go in a neat little column.
By the way, I just knocked on my aura perception just in case anyone immediately jumps out at me.
No. All of the people here, at least within your immediate view, look human. There are a substantial amount of guards. There's several patrols walking around the walls. There's several people on the walls. There's also two people at the front gates who are just guarding it. It does actually look like a fairly tight ship that's being ran. Everybody seems fairly well disciplined. Nobody's slacking off. Nobody looks unfocused or like they're not, or that they aren't paying attention to the job. Everybody looks quite formal, quite serious, presentable. And the equipment that all the security, all the guardsmen are adorned with are up to a strong standard. You imagine that. I mean, the Primogen must be very rich, as she, as this would probably one cost a lot to set up or to buy, and more importantly to maintain. So she probably has a significant amount of money coming in from somewhere.
Solahdrin and Hekaib will just kind of stroll down the main, the main pathway towards the house because obviously people can't see them, so it's just like a very casual stroll. Like do 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 do. Or indeed, to quote my to quote my standard operating template of snake.
Yes. You obfuscate in. Nobody really notices you. You're just able to walk in. You notice that as you go in, there's also patrols walking around, walking the grounds. There's people. There's a person at the front door as well. There's a lot of guards here. I really can't be put other way. This is a very well secured place from a mundane standpoint. You'd be hard pressed to sneak in through mundane abilities just because of the amount of people walking the grounds. There's also servants again just tending to the front garden, the back garden. There's maids carrying cleaning equipment, a bucket of water, and they take it inside and they open the door for the guard opens the door for the two of them.
I was going to say, Solahdrin and Hekaib will just do that wonderful little sidestep in as they're getting in. So just literally like whoop.
Yep, you can do that. That's no problem. You take the opportunity as the two maids go in. They just set up in the main foyer and start scrubbing the floor. It appears they've already made a lot of headway, but they got a lot of ground to cover. The estate's fairly large, so they're going to be quite busy for the whole evening, and they look rather dour about the whole thing. They look a little bit ragged.
Solahdrin makes a mental note, by the way, to not step on the wet floor because he doesn't want anyone to maybe perceive wet footprints that shouldn't be there. So he just kind of sidesteps the wet ground.
Particularly after the fact. But yes, the floor itself, yeah, it's not too hard to avoid the wet floor. They haven't covered the entire floor, so it isn't too hard for you to avoid. And just because I forgot to show you earlier, I mean, it was already implied, but yes, the Primogen has left for the evening. You're not sure for what purpose. Probably to feed, maybe. But she has a lot of people here to feed off of. Maybe she doesn't want to feed on her servants. Makes sense. But she has a regular purpose.
Do you shit where you live?
Well, we do have toilets where we live, so.
I was just thinking, it's shit where you sleep. It's not the expression. I was like, well, I'm just.
It's shit where you eat.
Oh, I'm really bad at this today.
Well, there you go.
I'm okay. Continue.
Okay. You kind of make your way through the foyer into a sort of into a small hall, which has a staircase off to its left, at the left-hand corner, leading up a floor across a balcony into a room about midway through, and then one at the end of the balcony. And then there are a couple of there's a door on the left wall and door on the right wall as well on the ground floor.
I'm basically just going to follow Wraith Friend and see where they lead.
Wraith, Konstantinemos guides you through to the through to the right door.
Wonderful. Are there any servants or anything like that are in direct line of sight?
Yes, the two maids are cleaning in the foyer. They would be able to perceive you enter if your obfuscate broke.
Huh.
Which it might, because if you open the door, you have to make a roll, basically.
Oh, this isn't the super locked door, is it?
No, this is not the super locked door. He's taking you to it. You have to go through he does note you have to go through a few rooms. So you probably he actually notes you're basically going to go through a couple of rooms, which will take you to the secure cellar proper. But it's not immediately. It's not like directly connected to the main hall. It's sort of out of the way because it's like it's a storage space, so they don't have it. They don't have it like directly connected to the main hall where people would actually be.
On a side note, I rolled to try and open the door and I failed the obfuscate check. Wait, hang on. Unless it was a lower diff than standard. I don't know what difficulty it would be.
Yeah, I was just going to make it standard because the door's isn't super hard, but it's also fairly overt. It also depends on like the sort of make of the door. Like if it creaks like a motherfucker, then maybe it goes up a diff, but it's just a normal door.
I fail.
Okay. So yeah,
it's fine. I pop into
hurdles. What are they? I don't jump over them. I run through them. Damn it! That's what potence is for. So yeah, no, you go to open the door. You know when your obfuscate breaks because whenever you trigger obfuscate, you feel a certain. It feels natural, but it's like a certain sense of separation from the rest of the world. Like you feel a little bit isolated. Almost like the rest of the world's kind of graying out, and you're the only thing in color, or the opposite rather. You're graying out, and the rest of the world remains in color. But you kind of you very much feel yourself snap back to reality as soon as you turn that doorknob. And then the two maids look up at you, having no idea what the fuck just happened.
He literally he sighs. He just kind of presses his thumb and his forefinger to his head. Basically, says, "Is there anyone else in the room?"
No, there's nobody else in the room.
He looks down. Look, you don't care what's happening here. You don't. You're peasants. You practically only care about where your next meal is coming from. He takes out a bag of gold. And he just empties it. Take that. Leave here. Don't speak a word of this. Keep quiet. You may have this wonderful amount of gold. And we won't have to do anything unfortunate. Let's do that. That's a good plan.
Get up the Dark Ages book here. Because I don't have it open, and I should have it open.
What was that, sorry?
I was just gonna open up Dark Ages book. Roll me charisma commerce.
Oh well, this is a pool I actually have. Who knew?
No. You're trying to form a trade, so commerce actually works here. And I'll just allow you to use a generic commerce call. You don't have to have like a field of expertise in bribery or anything. Or you can have it be expression, whatever one is higher.
I don't think I have expression as this character.
Commerce is probably.
Then I have some of it. I have commerce 2. My charisma's 2, so I have 4 dice. Oh dear. It's a pool. I never said it was a good pool. I'm going to flick on Serpentis 1 to lower the difficulty to 5, because it does it for all social checks. And let's spend the first willpower of the evening, kids, bringing my total willpower down from 7 to 6. I should really make a note of this somewhere that is not a document. But anyway, I'll put it on my thing after this.
Okay, do success.
2 successes. I have 2 successes with the willpower.
Oh, willpower. Yeah. The older one looks like she's in her mid-40s. Looks a bit sketch. She seems very awkward. But the younger one, does kind of approach you, and she'll very awkwardly and unsurely take the gold, and
oh shit!
Thank you.
Give me just a second, because I did make one slight blunder, and I will just remedy that. I didn't actually roll for my Mask of 1,000 Fixes, because I do have that.
Oh yeah, that is actually really important. So yeah. This guy's Saraket's appearance is no different than Solahdrin's, right?
He's still appearing 2, but the 2 are looking entirely separate. They were like, there was 7 successes to fleshcraft him to look different. Oh yeah, so yeah, I look like an entirely different person.
Yeah, 3 successes.
With 3 successes,
perform perfectly. Your voice isn't much different, but your actual form is entirely different.
Saraket's voice is also different to Solahdrin's, because you can change that with the vicissitude. So Solahdrin and don't actually sound anything alike.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's just like, yeah, have some candy.
And well, that is that if that isn't creepy white van, then I don't know. So and these well, the younger maid definitely exemplifies that awkwardness as she takes the proverbial candy that is actually gold, and just say thank you. We'll be on a way.
What's their aura look like?
Let's see. Did you roll it?
Yeah. It was my roll just above my failure. It was 3 successes.
Orange, lavender, dark blue. Afraid, conservative, suspicious. And it's very it's a bit static and a bit mottled, i.e. they're anxious and very confused. You can tell that they're very, very confused.
Oh, by the way, weird fact about this evening, because I did forget to mention it, but we're still at that point of the scene where it's not a big deal. Solahdrin has on his person several different small gourds or small flasks that contain one of them contains mercury and the other contains sulfur.
Okay.
He has not touched these with his own hands, and I will emphasize this point. They were put in the bottles for him by the apothecary whom he bought them from. He has not touched them since.
Okay, cool.
The reason being, I'll tell you the reason. He's going to scatter these in the. He's going to scatter these in the hall where they, or in the safes where they find the items in question. The reason being is that sulfur and mercury are 2 items commonly used in magic, and the Gargoyle Arm is wanted by whom, kids?
Fair enough. Although I should note to you, because this is important, gloves provide very limited protection against Auspex 3.
Oh, do they? Ah.
Yeah, that is actually important, because you don't necessarily need to touch something of your fingerprints per se, like actually like flesh to the item to leave an aura on it. If you like, for example, if you murdered someone with a knife but you were wearing gloves and it was like a frenzied murder, that would still leave something of a violent aura on it. But
in that case, we shan't bother leaving anything. It's fine. Moving on.
There you go. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Just thought I'd let you know. Because a lot of things you can actually just, also a lot of magic and abilities, you can just touch people on their clothes and it will still work. But yeah. They will take the money and they will go very awkwardly, very cautiously, somewhat unsure as to what just happened. They seem very confused. They don't know how you got there. They're very anxious as they leave. Their auras just kind of remain very largely afraid and conservative. Bit obviously suspicious, but very afraid. They're very afraid and confused. But they do leave.
There's a slight sigh as he just kind of look, kind of like still see Hekaib under my own cloak, and he just kind of shrugs before he redons his own cloak. You know, there's a in his eyes. He says, "Oh God, oh set, damn it, it's going to be one of those evenings." But then we carry on.
Fun fact: when your obfuscate broke, Hekaib's didn't.
Does that mean he's wait? Does that wait? Hang on. Does that mean he's sustaining his own obfuscate, or mine just stayed?
He's sustaining his own.
I will recloak him, however, with mine. The logic being that mine is stronger in case it needs to be penetrated, etc.
Yeah, when you went for the door, he created his own because he's like, well, this could become a clusterfuck, and it almost did. So safety nets.
Clusterfuck averted. It's fine. Let's keep going.
Yes. You walk through the door. You enter what appears to be a small hall. To your immediate left, there is a locked door. Directly to its side, there is a staircase that leads up, goes around, leads up to the next floor. And then directly in front of you, there is another door you think that may lead outside. The wraith leads you to the door immediately to your left. Like when you enter, you literally just turn your head and there's another door, like less than about like 30-40 centimeters in front of you.
Cool. In that case, he nudges the other door closed with the back of his foot, just like closing.
I'd say actually it's more like a meter, but yeah.
But and he just kind of motions for Hekaib to go to the door in question.
He looks at the door. You see he kind of leans in a little bit. He kind of peers at it. His eyes narrow slightly. And then he gives it a rather lackadaisical smile, and he'll begin working away at it. He'll take out his larceny kit, and he'll take out some picks that he'll begin working on the door with. And I'm going to have him make him roll. One sec. Just going to get his sheet up.
I tell you what, I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Just need to go to the bathroom.
No problem. Oh shit, he is good at this. That's terrible. No, dear. We've had a slight technical issue, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Aha, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got
Bishop.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm back. Sorry about that. That was fucking nightmarish.
It's fine.
Uh,
It happens. So he rolls 9 dice. He gets 3 ones. He still gets 3 successes. Which does hit his threshold because basically, I think basic looks up like a success threshold of some kind. But yeah, he gets 3 successes. Doesn't take him too long. Takes him maybe. If he had 5 successes, he would have taken it down in we're gone instantly. 4 successes, probably 30 seconds. 3 successes. Takes him a couple of minutes.
Solahdrin's just kind of, he's leaning back. You know what? Fuck it. Because he can, and because he got the successes on mask, he can change the mask. I think. Do you want me to roll to change his mask, or can you just change the mask?
I think you need to re-roll whenever you change the mask.
Okay, because my computer's still being super slow while it boots up. Do you mind just rolling me 6 dice?
Yeah, sure. I get 5 successes.
Okay. Holy shit. Whilst we're here...
I should roll all your dice.
I was going to say, we're going to look like those 2 maids.
Cool. That works. It's taking him 2 minutes, so I am going to roll a chance die to see if anyone shows up. He did get 3 successes, so I'll say you basically if this is a 3 or below, someone will show up. Oh wow, someone does. So yeah, Lord Sarakat. As Akib is picking the lock, he's almost done. He looks like he's almost finished with it. You do begin to hear someone on the floor immediately above you enter the door, enter the room through the door that is on the floor just above you, connected to the stairway.
All right, Sarakat, obviously, Sarakat's going to take the form of the younger maid.
Cool.
And he's going to walk to the bottom of the stair just to see who's walking down, basically.
It's just a single-armed man, just another guard.
She smiles up at him and walks up the first few steps. So basically, he will get to her before he gets to see what Hekaib is doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. You approach him. He kind of gives you a weird look.
Can I make a manipulation subterfuge roll to look flirtatiously at him?
roll me. Actually, if you want to take the form of a younger maid, you have to spend a blood point because she's actually appearance free.
I beg your pardon?
She's actually appearance free, so you'll need to spend a blood point if you want to look like her. I'll let you do that.
I will spend that.
Yeah, you look just like her. Yeah, just roll me appearance subterfuge. Difficulty 7 because he's on the job and he's actually fairly disciplined. And
you know what? Because my dice roller is my Discord still hasn't come up. Roll me 7 dice. I'll drop the difficulty to 6 with Serpentis 1.
Okay. And actually, the guard just says to you, Aria, shouldn't you be in the hallway? And you get 4 successes to look flirtatious. Unless you have a specialty introduction, in which case you get 5 successes.
I don't, unfortunately, but that would be hilarious. As she kind of twists her hair with the fingers idly, and she says, "Well, I'm going to hell, Bishop. I know this. It's fine. Don't worry. She says, well, what can I say? Maybe I should, but after all, the mistress isn't here, and, well, you are, what can I say? You've always been my favorite man in armor.
I like the fucking snapping.
That's totally a character too. The little.
Oh my god. Okay, he just goes.
So she walks up and he presses a finger right under his chin and leans in and whispers, "Maybe you could meet me in the barn in, say, 20 minutes?"
Sure.
She going to hell leans in and kisses him in that way that you do it, where you basically bite the ear ever so slightly. You're like,
God. Oh my god. You really are going to hell. You bite his ear, and he is so. Wow.
It's fine. Who knew that I would use this overlay? The first time I would use this brand new awesome overlay would be to cock cheese in the middle of fuck off nowhere.
I'll see you in 20 minutes.
She smiles. Has that been enough time for Hekaib to finish up downstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
He's actually.
As she walks back. Oh, continue.
What he does is that he basically hides underneath the stairwell. So he'll be walking down. He won't actually. Hekai will be directly behind him. But he actually he'll head behind the stairwell and will disappear, as it were.
As he walks down, he just looks at Hekaib and he says, "No one ever hears of this. Are we understood?"
It's just that look, like out of Beckett's Jihad Diary, where Lucretia hugs her blood sister, and Beckett just smirks at her, and she just gives him the look of, "If you ever speak of this, I'll fucking kill you, you piece of shit." It's basically that look. It's the look of no. It's the no look.
I mean, you'd almost think our entire plan was about corrupting and subverting people. Nonsense.
Yeah. It's almost as if the entire clan is about transgression. Weird that. Yeah, he'll begin heading downstairs past you. He'll awkwardly make his way past you and give you some space. Yeah, looks fairly kind of stunned, awkward, slightly attracted. And we'll make his way down to the next room. And Hecate will emerge from the stairwell and he says, "Well, now I can certainly see what's your favorite hobby."
I give him the glare of "Shut up, you."
He all right, ladies, man. And he'll open the door.
He kind of aggressively nudges Hekaib down like the first two steps, like ladies first, like go. But yeah, we will proceed down the stairs.
Yeah,
we obviously close the door after us.
Yeah, you close the door. This actually appears to be a fairly plain-looking room. Appears to be a storage area that leads to the other storage area. In that this place seems to hold very basic amenities that servants would need to have access to, so they can just go in here and get what they need and then go out. But you can see the at the end of this small room. It's just a small storage space. It's largely empty, to be honest. At the end of it, you can see the cellar door. It's attached to the floor. Has 3 or 4 locks attached to it. I'm gonna say 3 locks. I'm gonna say 4. It's not 3 or 4. It is 3. There is not a partially existent lock. Don't worry. But yes.
Wow, I love how it just rolled something I rolled before I went to the bathroom. Before I went to the bathroom, or rather, when I went to the bathroom, I made a roll, and it's just decided to roll it when my fucking Discord turned back on. Thank you, computer. Continue. But yeah, no, Solahdrin or Lord Saraket kind of just he walks to the whatchamacallit, to the trapdoor or to the door down to the sub basement, and he looks at it and he just says, "I assume you can break into this one."
Might take me a little bit longer, but shouldn't be a problem.
That's fine. Remember, this is the basement. I don't think they come down here very often, but make haste.
Will do. I'm going to have him roll individually for each lock. Last lock will be a +2 diff, but he has no problem in that lock. That lock takes him about 30 seconds, so he's done with that one pretty quickly. He gets to work on it. Then he quickly moves to the second lock. And wow, you actually see him just put in the 2 picks, turn it, and you just hear it click open. So he's done with with 2 locks in about 30 seconds. And the last one takes in wow, yeah, he's done in about a minute. He actually takes a shorter amount of time than he took on the initial door lock. He is lightning quick. And yeah, the 3rd lock clicks open, and we'll open the basement door for the good lady. You won't say that.
Needless to say, I can understand why it is that you were, well, the first half of the reason you were embraced. Hecade, he says as he hops down the cellar, down into the sub cellar.
I find that I rarely need to run anymore. A funny thing that the last time I had to run was when I wound up in some sort of ruin with Omar, Gufran, and Irene. That was an experience.
Was that the now
he just kind of slides down the ladder.
Was that the now infamous incident where they found a temple under a temple?
Yes, that was interesting. Seems our forebears were, well, looking after something down there. He just closes the basement door before sliding down. But yeah, he slides down and hits the bottom, hits the floor.
Solahdrin replaces the trapdoor, so the lid is down, basically. Interesting. I've heard quite a few stories about that little incident. I'm led to understand that certain interesting items and objets and bric-a-brac were found. Wait, why was Omar there?
Oh, sometimes sometimes he helps finance my expeditions, and I share some of the spoils with him.
He has his finger in literally every pie, doesn't he?
Oh yes, he does. I enjoy it immensely.
Well, I mean, this is why we're on this particular little trek, but I digress. Are we in the room with the vaults?
Yes, you are. There's
I believe
it's basically sort of a long. It's basically a long stretch. There's it's basically there's a bunch of tool racks and weapon racks down the for about a meter, and then down the second or third meter, there's just a shelves of a bunch of safes and some human-sized safes at the end.
I've had the Wraith check through them. Is there anything else of interest here other than the arm and the finger?
Nothing particularly mystical, no.
He looks at Hekaib and he shrugs and he says, I mean, do you particularly want to rob her in terms of her mundane riches? We can do that while we're here.
I mean, you have your way of making money, I have mine.
You have a small bag on your person that simply says swag, don't you?
He has shifty eyes.
By the way, I had a character question. Do you know what swag actually stands for?
What does it mean?
It stands for silver, wine, artwork, and gold.
He definitely has that.
But Solahdrin, or Saraket, because I'm going to get into the habit of calling him Saraket, walks, kind of just shrugs and walks down the queue of things. He says, "Well, we're at least going to liberate the hand and the finger first. So that's this one." He says, points to the vault.
Shouldn't be too difficult. The time span this will take for him will be extended because he's cracking into a safe and not just picking a lock now. If he gets 5 successes, it will still be instantaneous. It will be difficulty 8 for him though. It's not like anything ridiculous like a puzzle lock, so it's not going to be above difficulty 8, but it is a fairly substantial, secure, and very expensive safe, so it will actually be fairly difficult for him to break. And oof, he fails initially. So he's going to spend 10 minutes on it, and failed to make any headway. I'll have him roll again for you. And he does succeed that time, so it'll take him about 20 minutes to open it.
Saraket kind of shrugs. From my perspective, it just takes this long. I don't know if this is a long time to wait. You know, I'm quite happy to do the set-type version of sit there and play with a yo-yo.
Yeah, to be fair, the fact that he's able to open it at all is fairly impressive. So,
but I will remove a brown wooden case, and I will place the arm inside the case. I will then click the case closed, and we will then move on to get the finger out of the thing.
Yeah. Do you have heightened senses active?
I have all specs on, so short answer, yes.
Okay. You want to make me a perception alertness roll, difficulty 6?
What's the difficulty, sorry?
Difficulty 6.
Okay. I am just not having a good day today. That's a fail.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Alrighty, he opens the safe for you after about 20 minutes worth of work. And
The safe then explodes.
there are several riches, various various treasures. Largely, they're human-sized safes, so it's largely largely ornate ornaments and antiquities. From what you can tell, they're obviously valuable. You can't ascertain their exact value unless you have the commerce field of expertise in them, but you can tell that they're very valuable. And you also find the Gargoyle Arm as well.
He will just reach in, take the finger, put it in the box, click it closed.
Yep. Yeah, you're able to grab both a finger and the arm, by the way.
Excellent. He kind of looks at Hekaib and he sighs and he just says, I tell you what, I don't particularly want to stay here much longer, so I will happily give you due monetary compensation for you having to leave without swiping anything else.
Well, I'm very grateful, he says, as the basement door opens.
And obfuscate us both.
This will require a vanish roll. As the person is falling down.
Oh, wait, there are people falling down? What?
Or they're jumping down.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so what's the roll?
It is to vanish.
I think it's wit stealth.
Yeah, basically all successes will also count as Hekaib's, although Hekaib will try his as well, and basically he'll take the higher of whoever succeeds. It is intelligence stealth. What is
it's what, sorry?
Is intelligence stealth versus the person's wits or alertness?
Oof.
Which is actually pretty brutal. Let me double check.
I mean, once again, I'm happy to fight the Gargoyle Primogen. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Actually, on this, before we go into initiative rounds, I had 14 blood. I will spend 3 for Dex and 3 for Stam. Wow, that's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, it's not like a stiff 10 or anything. It's just stiff 6. Oh wow, you nail it! Box! Yeah, you literally. I'm not even going to have Hekaib roll because that roll's probably better than what he'd be able to get. So, So yeah, what was it again? It's intelligence plus stealth. Yeah.
I think that if you get 3 or more successes, you just vanish from sight like that.
Yeah, it technically says 1 to 3 successes you fade but do not vanish, but I'm going to house roll it as 3 or more because it's a bit silly that you need 4 or more successes to outright vanish. So 3 is a much more reasonable threshold. But yeah, I mean, 6 successes and Cloak the Gathering, which it basically extends to anyone you want it to. Yeah, you both literally pop out of existence as if you were never there at all. But you are quite correct, as the guardsman you flirted with earlier is is unceremoniously kicked down by this lady. If she could be red with fury, she would be. She looks very, very angry. And when she hits the floor, it leaves a lot of it. There is a she leaves 2-foot-sized craters. The wood just splinters underneath. The floorboards just splinter.
I take it that she cannot perceive us.
It takes you a few seconds to see whether she can, because this is a fairly thin stretch, so it's actually fairly hard initially to determine if she can. But when she doesn't immediately charge you down and simply looks towards the open safe and begins running at it, or rather, not running at it, but strutting towards it, in a very frantic fashion.
Myself and Hector do that wonderful thing. We're just kind of stick to walls and like.
Yeah, you just stick to the wall. You just sidle past her.
We're gonna wait for her to have her dialogue option. I think. Let's hear what she says. Basically, I'm gonna climb. We're gonna both very, very sneakily climb up to the top of the thing. I'm gonna listen to hear what she says. If she has any dialogue at all, if she talks, essentially.
She looks at what has been taken, and she turns back towards the guard, who's just kind of meekly following her. She just says, "You blithering idiot! Do you have any idea what you've done?" And she literally picks him up with one hand and slams him against the wall. Cutting him up pretty badly as he lets out a rather feeble, a rather weak cry. It's very clenched as he tries to hold it in. Do you have any idea what you've allowed to happen? You've made me look like an idiot in my own domain. I should kill you for your negligence.
It's not the phrase "kill you for your negligence" that I think we are going to snake our little asses out.
Yeah, you can just kind of climb up to ground level as you do that. As you literally as you climb up, Hekobe's actually going to make a quick Dex Athletics roll, because what she's going to do is she literally throws him at the ladder.
Cool. So my dex, based on my blood spent, is currently 7.
No, you're fine. You're fine, because you get up first. It's Hekobe that will have to make the quick check. She should be able to make it just fine.
I was going to put it. I will aid Hekai, like by grabbing his hand or grabbing him by the scruff of the neck if necessary.
If he fails, you will have a roll to be able to catch him. But he'll just need to make a quick check. He's actually pretty good at this because Indiana Jonesing it.
You'd almost think he was a professional thief or something.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's, and he does succeed. So yeah, he does. Maybe not too gracefully, but does manage to quickly scramble up to ground floor as the ladder actually just breaks and snaps as the man is just thrown into it and seemingly knocked unconscious.
That is one angry lady filled with rage. She should probably, I don't know, get that seen to. Rage can do terrible things to the skin.
Yeah. So I assume you're going to head towards the door now?
Is the door? Did she leave the door open in her fury?
No. You're not that fortunate.
That would be lucky.
Doors, an obfuscator's worst enemy.
What would be the difficulty for me to open the door and maintain the obfuscate?
6.
I'm gonna have to try it. Don't fuck me now, dice. Don't fuck me now. 4 successes. Quick.
Okay. Yeah, you do make it. Your obfuscate does not break when you open the door. And you're able to make your way out. And if you just want to make me that roll for the next door, as the Gangrel Primogen just jumps up to ground level. She just jumps and begins making her way to the door. You can hear her. She's not subtle. She's angry. So you can hear her rather deep and foreboding footsteps that kind of just echo out across the estate.
Sorry, what did you ask me to roll? My apologies, didn't quite hear you.
Just the same thing to not break obfuscated the next door.
Okay, give me just a moment. I'm going to just reload the Hangout. Give me just 20 seconds.
No problem.
There we go. Sorry about that. Continue. But yeah, I had to make another roll. I will do that. This will be the one I fail. Watch it. Watch it as I fail this one. I don't know if I failed or not because it hasn't rolled for me, but it may have rolled for you.
Yeah. It says you got 4 successes, same as last time.
So there you go then.
Yeah, you may. Do you
So-
close the door behind you? I assume you do.
Yep.
Mm.
Once again, because I'm not stupid, let's be very careful to avoid those to avoid the wet floor, shall we?
Mm-hmm. You make your way over to the last door. As you notice,
This one was
smoke.
open, but this is.
You make your way over to the last door. As you notice, a cloud of mist begins to travel beneath your feet, or around your feet.
That's interesting.
And he's heading towards the door. It will probably get ahead of you, as you're not moving particularly quickly, and well, the mist is. There are, however, no servants in this foyer now, because you bribed them away.
I have a weird question, Bishop, because I don't actually know the answer to this. While in mist form, can you tell if people are in you?
Pardon?
I got a bit of sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. While in mist form, can you tell if people are in you?
Usually you can, but obfuscate causes people to act subconsciously in regards to you, so they wouldn't recognize it. It's kind of like when you obfuscate on a crowded street, you will find that people subconsciously move around you, but they won't recognize.
In that case, we have no reason to rush, so we're going to just keep moving nice and slowly towards the door.
Yeah. The mist actually heads slips through the door flame and seems to be going up. But yes, make me now one last check, friend.
Hi, friend.
It would be really funny if you failed this one.
3 successes.
You're able to open the door, and the guard outside, he doesn't recognize it. He doesn't care. Just doesn't matter.
Solahdrin's going to walk down the steps, and basically, as he steps down, I'm going to spend another blood, bringing my blood total. It was at 16 minus. Sorry, minus that. So yeah, I'm going to spend another blood, bringing my total down to 3. To convert myself to the Typhonic Avatar state. It'll take 3-4 turns, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to basically gallop back to Odessa with Hekaib on my back. Hekaib can hold the arm. But basically, there's a reason for this. There's a reason for my haste. So I'm going to make all speed to Omar's shop. On a side note, and because it will make my life easier, I will also have agreed to meet the seneschal at Omar's shop, because by God, he'll go to Omar's shop. Everyone goes to Omar's shop.
Everybody loves Omar's shop. But yeah, you show up to Omar's shop, and Omar is waiting for you in the on the first floor, where people love to go chat. He says, "Oh, hello! What a pleasant surprise."
He, for the record, Saraket, he's going to have his face entirely covered for this, so it's going to be like basically covered in a mask and and bandage wrap or concealing wraps, and he will place the box down on the table. He'll spin it around to Omar, and there'll be a click, 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 click noise, like almost like a briefcase opening. Mm-hmm. And he will open it to show Omar the merchandise.
You are truly a man of great talent indeed. I am most thankful.
I will warn you, Master Shadid. The simple fact of the matter is that one of the fingers was missing when I arrived, which intimates to me that the Asa might have it. This means they might be able to track this arm, so whatever deal you're going to make for it, I'd make it quick.
He thinks to himself. Well, I suppose that just means I have multiple buyers.
I suppose so. Of course, you didn't get this from me, but then again, I trust your discretion in this matter.
Of course. I found it on the black market.
Absolutely. You are a master of the black market, after all.
One can find anything on the black market if they know what they're looking for.
Well, needless to say, I hope that you have luck in finding a buyer. I believe, as I said, that Tremere will pay very handsomely for this, if no one else will. I do have another piece of information for sale as well, if you're interested.
I'm always interested in doing good business.
I fucking love this guy. For the record, I told you that this guy is an elder who lives in Dublin, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to let you NPC him because it's fucking amazing, and I love Omar. 10 out of 10 would recommend. He'll say, this piece of information will cost you a single major boon, and it's about how these entities are created, he'll say, denoting the gargoyles.
Deal.
Is that agreeable? Good. I was told this by a reliable source. It said to me, what the Zamisi craft with their discipline of vicissitude, the Tremere craft with stone. Then, through certain conversations I had with individuals such as the current primogen of Clan Tremere, it was revealed to me that the gargoyles are alchemically created kindred, combining the blood of various different entities. Based on the interest the Gangrel showed, they're clearly one of the entities who are the reagents for the thing's creation. I don't know the others, but they are clearly a single element. Perhaps the Zamitsi are the other.
Well, now I know why the Gangrel wanted it so much.
Good trade, Omar Shadiq. Has my guest arrived?
Oh yes, he's waiting for you in the back. He does love his privacy.
May shadows always be upon your footsteps, Omar Shadiq.
Likewise, good
Let's just say at the moment I'm complicated.
good sir complicated. Pleasure doing business with you.
Fucking love Omar.
He waves.
10 out of 10 would recommend. I have a question though. If Omar owns a shop in the modern era, what is it like? How highly rated is his shop? Is it 10 out of 10?
That's 11 out of 10, baby. Let's go.
But yeah, Saraket will stride into the back of the shop. My apologies for keeping you waiting, Primogen. I was completing my business with Omar.
I heard.
Interesting. He shrugs and he says, ultimately, blood thieves. What are you going to do? They gained their power through an unnatural means, and now they pervert it for an unnatural means. If you're not careful, you're going to have a war in your city. More than the one we already have.
I must admit, I've grown rather used to war here.
He throws himself down on the cushions and he says, for the record, the Lady Irene is currently outside in, well, a wagon, for lack of a better word. We attempted to wake her, but for some reason it failed.
I see. I hope you can actually. What? Is this immediately the day after you took her? Like, you rescued her?
It'll be whenever. If he's going to say, "Did you blood bond her?" His answer's going to be no.
Yeah, no. Essentially, is going to ask. I hope you understand. I do have certain clarifications.
By all means, ask your point.
First, I need to know whether she has been bound to any one of you.
Not permanently, no. We attempted to give her vitae in order to waken her. That was it. It didn't work. And I very much doubt it's because she's a lower generation or closer to your founders than I am. I believe it's something mystical that's keeping her still asleep.
Perhaps. She is known to be gifted with foresight, or cursed of it at times.
Indeed.
A strange anomaly in her blood. It's not something that is known to be present within her lineage.
No. We're not oracles, after all. We tend to look to the Malkavians for that. But no, she was not, needless to say, bound to anyone in the clan. However, I will point out, and has been verified by your dear Madeleine, if it was not for the actions of the followers of Set, she would be dead. I can assure you of that. I even took great pains in the possibility of risking final death myself to save her. So, I believe a debt is owed.
He actually allows you to speak first on this. He steeples his fingers.
I have a plan, Seneschal, as it pertains my interest in the destruction of a mutual party. So, this features rather nicely into my plans. You are the great-grandsire of Prince Ulrich of Timoran, if I'm not mistaken.
I am his grandsire. Great-grandsire of his childer.
Adopted childer.
Ulrich has more than one childer. He smiles slightly.
As you say, I won't digress. The fact of the matter is, Prince Ulrich features in my plans. So, Lady Irene owes a considerable debt. I believe that Prince Ulrich will agree and acquiesce to shoulder that debt to a lesser extent. What was a life boon to her will become a major boon to Prince Ulrich. This is a reasonable measure. We are both reasonable entities. Now,
Ulrich
when I...
is a pragmatic man. I don't believe he'll disagree with you, and I would recommend he not do so.
Indeed. Now, you and I are going to craft a little illusion. Because he leans forward and there's almost a predatory look in his eyes as he says, I found it, Seneschal, in the Dracon's library. A way to undo Mary the Black.
Go on.
The Dracon is, for we do not know if he still lives or has on life in these nights. He was a genius. He understood more about the arts mystical than most people could possibly ever understand. His library delves deeply into his thoughts on the matter. Needless to say, as I said, he was a genius. So, with that in mind, he has presented me with the possibility that certain arts can in fact be used to pierce Mary the Black's obfuscate, to find her, regardless where she would crawl to in Edessa. Essentially, as long as I existed within the city, she would never be able to stay here with comfort and security, because I would always know where she was, regardless of how far distant she attempted to go within its walls. I would be able to find her, pinpoint her, and she would be hunted down. One of the powers insumated in the Dracon's library. It will, however, take several months of perfection to be able to be properly manifested, but as I believe her plans stem more towards the longer term, I do not think that that is an issue. We also have the issue of these rogue Canaanites. Fascinating entities. I jeweled one the other evening, and needless to say, I am a very good individual when it comes to ending on life, and I could barely scratch him. A new experience for me. I'm
Yes,
curious.
according to the report, you encountered two what would appear to be elder Canaanites.
I'm curious if you know who this individual is. Huge, covered in armor, appears to bear a remarkable chip on his shoulder.
That reminds me of one very specific gentleman, yes.
Who might he be? Needless to say, Seneschal, he decapitated my clanmate in cold blood. I am a man who likes vengeance.
He, Seneschal thinks for a moment, and he says, "For a minor boon, I'll tell you who he is. For a major boon, I'll give you all that is known of him."
Ooh, you tempt me. How about information for information?
That depends on the information.
It's very valuable, I assure you. I'm going to tell you the fact that the administration of our dear prince is about to fall, and I'm going to tell you how.
I'll downgrade my offer to a minor boon.
Deal. He extends his hand.
You'll shake it.
Good.
A lot of
Needless.
Poland's there.
Oh yeah, I'd assume so. Needless to say, Seneschal, after our last conversation, you didn't want to take the princedom in what could be seen as a coup d'etat. I can understand that perspective. You're a man who's been cultivating his power for a very long time. However, the Ventrue, let's be frank, have shown over and over that they are completely inept. They lost this princedom to the point where, well, are we even safe to walk the streets at night? I think we both know the answer to that. But, needless to say, the answer to the question asked is, how do I know that they're going to fall? The linchpin that the prince continuously relies on is Sir Gerard. He's a piece of the puzzle, as it were. And I happen to know for a fact that he is about to be rendered onto a state where he is no longer going to be useful to her. A linchpin falls.
No love lost there. I remember a time when our clan was quite embittered with him.
It was like I said, sir. If you'd asked, well, how would I phrase this delicately? I told you once before that you should have taken the princedom. I stand now even more behind that statement. Look at what's happened to Edessa. There are mobs in the streets. We can barely even feed now thanks to the overpopulation. The city has gone to hell. But if the linchpin were suddenly to be removed and the prince is left weak, isolated, and vulnerable, there wouldn't be a coup d'etat. It would literally just be a matter of a simple vote in the Primogen Council. The only individuals who can safely be said to be reliable to the Ventrue at the moment are the Cappadocians and the Blood Traders.
Well, I will say, if I was volunteered to become the new acting prince, I would hardly be in a position to say no.
As I said, the Setites have basically pegged themselves to your mast. We believe that you will make a good prince. Not only this, but we have been working to guarantee the support of the low clans for that said vote. If, when the time comes, you would consider a member of our illustrious clan to serve as your seneschal.
I believe that can be arranged.
My honored elder is incredibly wise and meritorious. She is, frankly.
She is, I'm inclined to agree, yes.
But I digress from my plan. So, we have the situation here in Edessa. My request to your grandchild will be simple. To repay the major boon, that I am named the new scourge of Timoran for the period of 6 months to a year. The exact amount of time can be worked out, at which point it will be stated that in a sign of friendship between Timoran and Edessa, that their scourge will aid yours in the hunting down of the rogue kindred who are currently causing such a stir here. I will make myself available to do just that. This will give me the time and resources I require in order to put my plan into action to trap Mary the Black, because it will require time and it will require resources to do so. You will help me in my illusion in a very simple, minor way. You will merely endorse Lord Saraket, my new alternate pseudonym, a respected elder of Clan Setite, who has taken on the mantle of who has taken on the role of the Scourge of Timoran. After all, in this day and age, if you say someone is to be not necessarily trusted, but is who they say they are, it renders so much weight and credence. And in 6 months' time, 6 to 8 months' time, I will be able to hand you the location of Mary the Black. You kill her, and you're a hero. Oh, not only are you a hero, he leans in very close and smiles. You would also gain all of the boons outstanding owed to Patriarch Michael of Constantinople as the person who slayed the individual who killed him.
He takes a moment. I have to respect your foresight, Lord Saraket. You've made yourself a player on the board. I'm impressed.
One merely does what one can for one's clan for the night. Needless to say, I have seen what it is that this entity wishes to do to us all, and it is in my best interest, in the best interest of my religion, to see to it that she is sent screaming into whatever hell awaits her.
As what we would all desire, I'd hope. Less.
So, in this case, Seneschal, I believe we have a deal.
Yes. And I believe I have information to deliver to you regarding this elder.
Indeed you do.
His name is Tabris, a warrior Salubri elder, about 400 or so years old. He was the former primogen of the Salubri in Edessa. He disappeared around a year ago, not too long after the new princedom was established. He arrived within Edessa a few decades prior. He brought with him a warband to try and root out the usurpers. It was, funnily enough, the Assamites that stopped him and sued for peace. They were not confident in his ability to handle the situation. And back then, nobody was. He was a strong warrior, but not an apt politician.
Interesting.
He seems... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, continue.
He seems, however, to be far more... organized than he was before, however, which leads me to believe others are helping him to maneuver his pieces around the board. He is a strong tactician, but not when it comes to social matters or politics, merely the military. He is, however, extremely dangerous. He has mastered all the physical disciplines and has taken his fortitude to its logical extreme. Weapons that strike his skin have been known to shatter, and he has been known to be able to strike anyone who attacks him with, well, forces rivaling that of someone over twice his age. I believe it is a very advanced power of his particular clan's unique ability. You all know when it occurs, his eye will begin to glow and open. That actually does bring another matter to my attention.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of blood staining?
No, can't say that I have.
It is a very particular salubri ritual, specific to the warrior salubri. It is a ritual wherein, well, a salubri of the warrior caste is effectively christened with blood. It is a rare ritual nowadays, given how few and far between the salubri are, but it has been rumored to give them tremendous power when required to be called upon. I have done some research into the matter. I've known the salubri for quite some time. It is said this particular ritual grants them power rivaling that of, well, Samael himself. I've not seen it in action, but I know when it occurs, the eye is said to glow as the sun. The warrior becomes physically almost unstoppable, and any attempt to manipulate them simply falters. No matter the power that one wields, one cannot dominate them, one cannot entrance them, one cannot ambush them. The eye simply reveals all who would attempt to strike them or combat them, and the salubri will be there to strike back at them. Quite an obstacle for your own abilities, as it is said to shatter, obfuscate upon, well, upon merely being within half a mile of the salubri in question.
Indeed, that explains several things. I don't know if it's the matter that he has mastered aspects to the point that he can pierce my obfuscate, or if I saw him use such a power the previous evening, but needless to say, there's a shrug. It could be, however, Seneschal, that we allow our enemies to destroy one another. The Tremere are troublesome. They will always be troublesome. But a salubri, mind you, he may want, shall we say, sweet, sweet retribution. So, if two birds could destroy each other, or two birds could weaken one another, then it merely stands to reason that that is not necessarily a negative causality. Being realistic with me, the domain is currently teetering. Our streets are overrun. How do you rate our chances?
They are merely mass-embraced whelps. They present an intimidating front, but intelligent steps can be made to contain and isolate them before finally destroying them. It is the ones manipulating and maneuvering them from behind the scenes that are the real threat. This is unusual for Tabris. Even for the other member of their trio. I've yet to identify the third one, but it appears they have evolved since they have disappeared. Perhaps I wonder what it is that has spurred them to change.
Necessity, perhaps. I mean, this Tabros, as you pointed out, may have been one thing in the past, but then he saw so many of his clan brothers and sisters die. That tends to have a formidable, changeable effect on individuals.
Perhaps it is because he no longer believes he can win.
Or perhaps it is because he believes he can win. Ultimately,
He's certainly been. This is certainly the closest he has ever been to victory over the Tremere here.
as I said, I believe that currently we can let the Tremere and this Salubri fight. Weakening one ultimately weakens the other, and frankly, the Tremere have been cradled far too long in the bosom of the Ventrue. But I have an idea. My contacts may be able to ascertain where it is that these mass-embraced whelps, as you call them, have been sleeping, and my underworld contacts may be able to have those buildings rendered into a smouldering pile of rubble during the day. That might be an excellent first start.
It would. Certainly force a response, which we can use.
Ultimately, as long as they are reacting, they are not taking action, and that is a far more... That places, as you say, the pieces on our board moving forward whilst they are on the back foot. But I have taken enough of your time, Seneschal. Needless to say, I shall go to Timoran and make certain preparations there before the announcement is made of my return. That is agreeable to you, yes?
It is.
Good. May I have a... He will withdraw just a piece of paper and a quill, and he'll say, may I just have a slight scroll from you to your dear grandchild, or informing him of what it is that must be done and the machinations, etc. Would be very grateful.
That can be provided to you.
Wonderful. In that case, I shall bid you good evening, Seneschal. May your footsteps be ever found in shadow.
Likewise.
And with that, Sarakat will rise, he will bow, and he will snake his ass out. Snake.
And yes, with that we can end the scene. Thank you, Claire, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.